Cheers. There was a coaster attached to my drink. Wow, this podcast is starting off hot. But welcome back to another episode of Sippin With Sin. Appreciate you all coming back and listening for another week. As we talked about in the previous episode, if you listened, if you did, I love you. You got kisses. That was Mike kisses just for you for listening to the previous episode. But we have a fun-filled episode. We're going to be talking about Obi Wan Kenobi this episode. Decided to talk about that. Both of us are Star Wars fans. And by both of us, I mean the one and only esteemed colleague, hot taker, and world's most sexiest men under 35. He's top 15. Totally made that up. But anyways, welcome back, Christian.
Hello there.
He was wondering where I was going with that. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And we're going to get into it. We're not going to dilly-dally like we did. We're not going to get sidetracked. It's not going to happen. We're going to stay laser-focused this episode, which is something that we do not do very well, pretty much ever. But we are laser-focused this time. We have, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see we are serious. But anyways, we're going to start this episode like we start every episode. What have you been watching, listening to, playing, or reading lately? And we're going to let Christian start it off. Christian, what do you got for us?
All right. So this week I've been watching. Actually, I was reading. I read more of Shadow War, which is a DC comic featuring, the Bat Family and Deathstroke. You should totally look into it. It's pretty good. But with that said, I've been looking at some other stuff. So I definitely have been watching obvious things that we're going to talk about. But with that said, I got to say something real quick. I watched more of the Morbius movie that we talked about, and I got to say, man, you know what? It's fucking garbage. That movie's
I knew you were baiting me. I knew that was bait.
It's so bad, dude. It's so bad. And I really was looking at this film, and I was like, maybe I'm tripping. But the first part of the movie, I hated it so much. He's like all decrepit. He's walking to the cave and he's getting ready to cut his hand for the bats or whatever. And then some character shows up and they're like, "Are you a doctor?" And he goes, "I am a doctor." And I was just like, why did you say the line like that? Why is that how you told
because
the guy
he's a doctor.
Jesus. It was
when you
so
get
annoying.
your doctor degree, you can say it like that too, Christian.
That's true. You're right. But to move it on along, I did watch another thing. I watched the trailer that's on the PlayStation State of Play for Resident Evil 4, and I know that you haven't quite seen that yet, so I won't talk about it forever. I'll just say this: it looks fantastic. I can't wait to play it. And they changed the design of Ashley just a little bit, so she looks less annoying. But I know that she's going to be very annoying once the game is being played.
Less annoying. Her design
she does
looks
look
less annoying.
And I mean, that's the best way I can describe her to you before you see it, dude. She looks less annoying. But with that said, that doesn't mean that I don't believe she's going to not be annoying, because she's got to be. She's Ashley. It makes perfect sense. But anyway, though, I'm super, super, super excited to play that game next year. If I got to get a PS5 by next March, because that game looks fantastic.
Is it exclusive?
RE4. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to lie to you.
I would say probably not. None of the Resident Evils have been exclusive, so I would kind of doubt it, but it may be. I don't know. Sony, there's like this bid war for studios, so Sony may have got Capcom. True. Who knows?
They may have. I mean, they got Street Fighter. Their new Street Fighter 6 that's coming out. They had a whole Capcom section, and Resident Evil was a part of it. So I was looking at that, and it could very well be an exclusive, but I don't know. But all I know is I can't wait to play the game. Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. I don't want to say it's number one, but I also do want to say it's number one. We'll just say it's number two for right now. But Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. I played it several times. I love it. It's one of the few games that I've bought on multiple systems. I love the game. It was fantastic. When it came out, it was fantastic. I played it again a couple years ago. It's fantastic. I love the game. It's the best Resident Evil game I've ever played. It's the best Resident Evil game they're ever going to make. I'll down that hill. And that's what I've been watching. What about you, man? What you been watching?
Well, first off, I want to say the state of play we're kind of avoiding because we're going to save that for maybe the next podcast. We'll have a whole subject on that where we talk about some of the announcements as we're getting into the summer months. More game announcements will be happening. This is usually when E3 and all that stuff happens. It's not happening this year. I think it's like Summer Game Fest or something. Xbox Bethesda will actually be in like 10 days. So maybe maybe we may actually wait and we may talk about that after that announcement. We may save State of Play and kind of wrap that with Xbox Bethesda. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, excited for Resident Evil 4. Love the series. So I'm right there with you. I'm excited to watch more stuff on it. What I've been into has been Diablo Immortal. It come out on mobile, so that means, Christian, you need to download it. Come out on mobile for free. That's right, the low price of free. And you can also play it on PC as well. Pretty excited about it. It's a Diablo MMORPG, which is pretty cool. Kind of just getting into it, getting going. They actually released it a day or two early. I can't remember. On mobile, and I'm super stoked for it. It's in beta, but it's been good. It's been really good, and it's been received pretty well. I've been playing that and digging that, as well as more V Rising, and I've been watching stuff that everyone else has been watching, and we're not gonna dance around anymore. We're gonna get right into it. We talked about last episode. I've been watching Obi Wan, as have a lot of people. I think it is the most viewed premiere in Disney Plus history for Star Wars. I think is what I heard, and
Yeah, that's confirmed.
It's confirmed, yeah. So we're going to get right into it. That's our first topic, and that is going to be what we're pretty much harping on this episode. So let's get into Obi-Wan. Christian, do you want to just... I know you are chomping at the bit for this. Do you want to just dive in, and then I can chime in here and there with my stuff?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that, man. Let's go right into it. So Obi-Wan, I'm going to talk about what I don't like or didn't like, about Obi-Wan's first 3 episodes first, and then we'll talk about the plethora of things that I did like. So to start it off, one of the things I didn't like, the first episode was almost unnecessary. It was extremely slow. I know that Disney Plus, like the way that they kind of have their shows going, it's usually like the season kind of starts off and it introduces you to the characters and you don't really know anything about the story, where it's going, but you get introduced to the characters. And then the second episode, they show you a little bit more about the characters and what may be the possible plot of the entire show. And then usually by episode 3, we start actually getting into the nitty gritty. Episode 4, is usually where things start to pop off. Episode 5 is usually the penultimate episode where we get, pretty much everything we need. And then the last episode is the inevitable wrap up and lead off to the next season or movie or whatever, what have you. But the first episode was just really, really slow. And I didn't really enjoy the slowness of that episode. It was too much. Like, we didn't really need to be introduced again to Obi-Wan. Like, the show is called Obi-Wan. We're here for Obi-Wan. We already know, as Star Wars fans, what he's been doing. We just want to see it, right? So just show us. You don't have to tell us that he's grown a beard. You don't have to tell us that he's not using the Force anymore. Just, show us that, with more going on in the show. With that said, though,
I did love the start.
What else did
with you saying, with kind of going in on the first episode, I love the start with showing all the previous things, kind of like a recap of like him and Anakin's story in a way, like with the prequel movies.
I did enjoy the recap. I was watching. I started watching episodes with my partner, and then she kind of bailed out because she's not really a Star Wars fan. So it was good for her to kind of understand why we were watching the show. But once she kind of bailed out and I was watching for myself, I could kind of just take all of it in. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But like I said, there's a lot of slowness going on in that first episode. And even into the second episode as well, there's a couple of parts of it that were a little slow, but it was much faster in the second episode. And then some other things I didn't like. So jumping into, I guess spoiler territory if you guys haven't, watched it or whatever. But the end of the second episode, where Second Sister is essentially like, "You can't hide, Obi-Wan, he'll find you. Anakin Skywalker is alive." That kind of thing. That was really annoying for me as a fan, because Anakin being Darth Vader is one of the most well-kept secrets in Star Wars history. Like, not a lot of people know that at all. So the fact that third sister somehow knows this, but all the other Inquisitors, including Grand Inquisitor, they don't know this. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't like that. And if you guys are fans of this podcast and have listened to me talk about the Darth Vader comic series that Marvel's releasing, or whatever, that's another part of the story. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, nobody knows that Vader is Anakin.
So
like,
quick thing. What
yeah.
before he gets burned and becomes Darth Vader, when he first
Mhm.
joins Palpatine, he calls himself Vader, right, as his Sith name. Before he's like when he's first turning, which is episode 3.
Yeah, it's 3.
Correct? Doesn't he call himself Vader? So is there any way maybe she knew that way? Which I would have thought it would have kind of spread through the grapevine, like kind of going on your point.
Technically, he doesn't call himself Vader. The Emperor calls him
he
Vader.
said, yeah, okay.
You'll hence be known as Darth Vader. He gives him the name.
Yeah.
Which, like, I don't have a problem with that at all. Like, all that stuff is fine. Like, keep all of that. The problem that I'm having is they're changing the canon around, and normally I don't really mind. Like, they change canon in all kinds of things. It's, they retcon stuff, retroactively changing the canon of canonical events and stories. They do that all the time. But I'm not used to it, so it's a little different for me, and I can imagine that a lot of other hardcore Star Wars fans will be a little turned off to that as well. But yeah, so the Emperor knows that he's Vader. A few other people know, like some of the higher up Imperial people know that he's Vader. But as far as the Inquisitors go, like, none of them know that he's Anakin. Like, so that's kind of weird for me that she knows that. So that's the thing that I didn't like. I also didn't like Leia's dialogue, dude. Like, I know that Obi Wan talks about it in the second episode later on, but her dialogue and the way that she talks, like, I know that they're trying to show us that she's force sensitive because, like, they made that canon with the latest trilogy that came out of Star Wars films, but, like, dude, Leia's talking like a full grown ass woman right now.
So that
and
bothered
she's
me in the
supposed to-
latest films. I just want to say
that she's force sensitive and
Well, I mean,
has
not
a
necessarily
lightsaber.
that. Just all of a sudden, she had like these powers to fly through damn space and shit. I'm like, where has this been? Tell me
Yeah,
you
for
couldn't do
real.
stuff this whole time.
It's fucking weird, man. Because we'll get into that another time.
Yeah.
Because I'll go on a whole rant about
Go ahead.
how I feel
So
about.
wait,
the
do you not like that Leia's in this? Did you want her to be excluded? Do you have a problem with it? Mrs. Sin asked me that question too. She's like, does it bother you Leia's in this?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't bother me that Leia's in it because Leia does know Obi-Wan. You hear that in A New Hope. Like, she specifically asks for Obi-Wan because he's her last hope or whatever in the message at the beginning of the film.
Right.
So I can deal with that. That's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't bother
Her
me.
her being in it, totally fine with it. It's just the way that she talks. They do this a lot with any kind of show or movie that involves children, like child actors. One of two things normally happens. One, the kid is kind of seen, not heard. Or two, the kid has the emotional maturity of like a 25-year-old. And it's weird because Leia, yeah, she's supposed to be smart. She's supposed to be the youngest council member or whatever. Like, we know that, especially as fans, we understand that, but you don't have to make her talk like she's 30 years old. You know what I mean? Like, she's so intuitive. She's so smart and all of that and asks the right questions pretty much all the time. But then you immediately jump to her being like a 10-year-old. I think she's supposed to be 10 in this. Yeah, she's a 10-year-old. So, like, she'll ask Obi-Wan all these questions about being a Jedi and all this stuff, and she can tell when people are lying and this and that. But you couldn't tell that you were about to get fucking kidnapped from these two goobers in the woods, bro?
Why are you calling Flea a goober?
Flea looks awesome, but his character's a goober, bro. Like, we can't.
Why you gotta call Flea a goober? Why you gotta hate on Flea? Get off Flea.
To go back to like wrestling terms, he's a jobber, right? Like, he's there for the cameo. And don't get me wrong, when I saw him, I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Flea from Red Hot Chili. This is great. But that was the end of that. So to back on Leia, I like Leia. I'm okay in it. I just don't like her dialogue because she goes from being a dumb 10-year-old kid to the smartest person in the entire show, then back to a dumb kid. And I just really don't like that because like she's not consistent. And that's telling me that the writers don't know how to write a child, and I just don't understand. I don't like that at all. So that's the only part that really is bothering me about the first few episodes so far. Like those are really all of the things that I don't like that I can think of right now to talk about. Everything else is smooth sailing, and I can't wait to talk about how much I love everything else that's happening. So, what about you? What don't you like?
Um. Hmm. I don't know. The third sister in parts is kind of weird to me. Like,
Explain.
do what?
Explain that to me.
I mean, not like I don't dislike her. It's just her character kind of bounces. Like, I don't know. Do what?
Like in her motivation?
Yeah, like one minute she's like, I don't know. She kind of like, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm doing like a wave motion. She kind of like fluctuates. It's not that I don't like it. At times I'm like, okay, she's like really stubborn after Obi-Wan, and obviously she wants more power and to impress Vader, all that. But the other times I'm kind of like, she's kind of, I don't know. And it could just be like her character having conflict, I guess, is what they're going for in a way.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying on Leia. Leia doesn't bother me being in the show. I have no problem with that. The fact that we've seen Luke barely, I'm okay with, because I don't want the show to be about Luke. It's obviously about Obi-Wan and Vader. And I will say this right now, the best part of Star Wars, my favorite thing in Star Wars to date, is Vader and Obi-Wan. I love their rivalry, relationship, and Obi-Wan will forever be Ewan McGregor for me. And I love that Hayden Christensen's playing Anakin again. I love that. Anakin's my favorite Star Wars character. Anakin Vader, favorite character. Love his story. But yeah, I don't know. I really didn't make sense on what I'm saying with her. There's nothing. And also, I want to touch on this briefly. She is getting a lot of hate, unnecessary hate, for her role. I want to touch on that. Like, and what was that?
I said, who's getting the hate?
Moses. Have you not heard about it?
No, I haven't.
So Third Sister is getting, I don't really know why. I don't understand the point in the hate, but Ewan McGregor come out with a statement, of course, thanking fans for watching Star Wars and making it the most watched Star Wars premiere on Disney Plus, all this stuff, but then said that her name's Moses Ingram, was getting very hateful DMs and messages, racial stuff, and all kinds of things. And pretty much he said, there's no place for that in the Star Wars universe or the world as we speak, and he does not condone it. And he stands with her. He loves her. She brings a lot to the show, and no Star Wars fan would do that. So he, went out publicly immediately on that. I don't really know why the hate, like, that's just ignorant.
I didn't know that was a thing. I don't understand that at all because
like there's nothing. What would you hate? I don't like it kind of blows my mind. I don't see anything just because necessarily I don't like a character in a show. Like, well, not necessarily the character, but like how the character is in the show. If they're a villain, they're supposed to make you not like them. Spoiler, you're supposed to hate the villain, like in most cases, correct? Like that's the whole damn point. So if she's making you not like her, she's doing her job. But I don't understand what sparked all that, other than I guess just people being stupid. I don't know. But that wasn't what I was going for. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I don't feel. Okay, I have two things I want to talk about then. I don't really. Do you not think she's conflicted? First off, she's kind of 1 minute she's like loyal to the Grand Inquisitor. Okay, we're gonna stay the course. The next minute she's kind of doing her own thing. Then she's doing her own thing like this way, and then she's kind of like she's gonna be a badass, but then she's not. But then she is again. I don't know. Do you not see she's kind of a wave right now, which I'm sure she's gonna get better. Do you not see?
So I think I understand exactly what you're saying. She's very clearly a character who is um,
Figuring things out, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how to work.
she's definitely a character that's set up to code switch. You know, not code switch, but switch sides. Right? You can tell that she's gonna eventually see the error of her ways and then betray. She's gonna betray Vader and join the good side. Like
But she's
that's
not all the way
pretty.
evil. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, to be a Sith or to be that, usually they're like, exception. Well, they're like, when they're there, they're like all the way on the dark side. And I feel like there's times where she has a struggle. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know. But yeah. So, and I don't necessarily not like that. Like I said, I don't really have any huge qualms with the show. I will say, spoiler, if you haven't watched, was it episode 2? But Grand Inquisitor got an early exit. They dipped quick. Like, they got the Snoke treatment. Like, obviously I saw the writing on the wall that something would eventually happen like that with her or in general, but he got the boot quick.
I mean, it's funny that you say that because with him going out like that, I'm thinking that he's not gone all the way. He's not like dead because if you watch Star Wars, what is it, Rebels, I believe, like he's in that show. So I don't think that Great Inquisitor is going to fully be gone there. They'll figure that out later on and work that out. They just needed that to happen to elevate Third Sister's character. As far as the hate that she's getting, the actress Moses, like that's fucking insane to me. I think that she's fantastic. I love her hair. I love her. She thick as fuck, and I think that the character herself is supposed to be that intense on purpose, and it just makes logical sense.
Okay, so I have a question
Also,
to. So this is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
She is thick. The question you're going to ask me is, do I think she's thick as hell? The answer is yes.
No, that's not the question.
No.
So the only thing I can think of, why people would be mad and it's stupid. Is there a third sister in any of the other canon stuff? I know they're sisters. I know they're sisters and all that. That's known, right? But is there a way the third sister is supposed to look? Is the fact that she is African American anything to do with it? Did they change that?
Now, we haven't seen, as far as I'm concerned,
because like that's the only thing I can think of that people would just like have it come apart. But even then, that's stupid, and I don't know, like, because surely not from her just character in general, or people being that damn hateful for no reason. But then again, who knows nowadays?
People have been hateful to a character in Star Wars for less. I will say that Star Wars fans, at least like the toxic side of the Star Wars fandom, tend to hate every single female character in Star Wars except for Leia. So that's really weird to see just in general. And I don't like
why.
that. I don't know, man. Like, it's very strange to me. But I don't hate any of the characters that I've seen, especially in this series. Like it just doesn't make sense. What I can say is that's probably what people don't like, but it's not because of that's how she's supposed to look. Like Third Sister can look any way because we haven't seen Third Sister yet. We've seen Second Sister, and Second Sister isn't like a stereotypical white person. She is also a woman of color, and that's from the game. If I don't know if you played the latest Star Wars game that came out,
Fallen Order or whatever.
Yeah. So awesome. So you played that. So yeah, she wasn't white either. So I mean, it makes perfect sense. And like, not every Jedi character needs to be white.
And if people are mad, Mace Windu, guys and gals, Mace Windu. I mean,
they'll give Samuel Jackson the pass though because he's Sam Jackson.
It doesn't matter. Like,
I agree.
Oh my god,
I agree. 100%.
But it's stupid. Also, if you're out there and you send the actor hateful messages because you don't like their role and how they're cast, come on, man. Like, come on.
Really? That hate should have went to the people. If you really hated some shit, then you would treat it like you treated Morbius and just not give them your money. You know what I mean?
Okay, sorry, ran on that.
Yeah,
but so go back to your previous thing. There's nothing really. I get what you're saying on Leia, and that makes sense. You know how they're writing her. I definitely understand that. there's nothing really like I have no gigantic like qualms or bones to pick. Like I said, her kind of flip flopping, which obviously it's probably like in the grand scheme of things, I'm only getting a portion size of it right now. We're halfway through. We'll see how it plays out through this miniseries. But
Yeah.
like her kind of flip flopping, like one moment she's kind of like this, the next moment she's kind of different. I think it'll make more sense in the grander scheme. But that I was kind of like, okay, she's kind of wishy washy where Obi-Wan's Obi-Wan, and everybody's pretty much what you expect. But yeah, I have no real beef with it, honestly. But I did want to touch on that subject just because I saw it and I was like, damn, this is kind of ridiculous. But didn't mean to go down the rabbit hole, but wanted to air it out a little bit.
So one other stuff that I liked. So aside from Third Sister straight up telling Obi-Wan that Anakin was still alive and out to get him and shit like that. Aside from that, I really did like them showing Hayden Christensen like in the burn makeup and shit in the chamber and the tube getting healed or whatever.
Can I say what my favorite part of the first 2 episodes are? Since you're talking about Hayden Christensen,
please.
Literally Hayden Christensen. First 2 episodes. Was it episode 1? Was it the burn chamber? Episode 1 it ends with something with Vader.
Yeah, that's at the end of episode 2.
The burn chamber's episode 2. Episode 1 is something with Vader breathing or something. Like, oh, they're attaching or doing something. And I was just like, oh yeah. And then when they show him in the burn chamber, I was like, oh yes, give it to me.
Yeah, man. And then so when they attach all this stuff to him, I'm pretty sure that's in episode 3 because that's the beginning of episode 3 when he comes out of that chamber and they put his armor on him and stuff. Yeah, that's 3. I think you might be confused.
He makes a cameo in the first 2, right? Or not a cameo, but he makes an appearance at the end of the first 2, doesn't he?
No. So in the first episode, he's not in it. Second episode, he's at the end. And the third episode, Hayden Christensen makes an appearance as just as Anakin because Obi-Wan is hallucinating him when they're on the run, and then he shows up fully as Vader in that episode, and that shit is badass. When he started fucking walking down the street essentially, and just
he breathes into the first episode. There's something Vader because I know every episode I was like, oh my god.
I don't remember any Vader stuff in the first episode personally.
I think it's at the very end. I feel like it has to be.
I know it's at the very end of episode 2. Yeah. Either way.
Okay, before you go on your Vader rant, I want to ask you if you noticed something. And I want to get because I know this Vader rant's coming, and once we do that, we're gonna be like balls deep in Vader stuff. So when Obi-Wan, I guess it's episode 2, when he's in that city, right?
Yeah.
Looking for Leia. Did you see the cameo? And I may be way off, and I could be super wrong because it's not listed that I'm seeing. There is a stormtrooper with a beard and a helmet. Is that not Boba Fett, the actor that played Boba Fett?
Oh yeah, that's meant to be.
Is it one of the clones? That was my next question.
Yes.
Okay, because whenever I saw that, Mrs. Sin didn't notice, and she's a big Star Wars fan, and I was like, "That's Boba Fett," and she was like, "What?" And so we rewinded, and I was like, "That's the actor. That's one that has to be Boba Fett." And I was like, "That's got to be a clone because it's obviously not Boba Fett. I don't think."
Yeah, it's a clone.
Yeah, and I was like, "That has to be a clone." And she was like, "Wow, that really could be a clone." I was like, "That's a really cool little Easter egg."
Absolutely a clone. So that's the thing. So when Boba Fett was like in his most prominent, in the series itself and Star Wars in general, all of those clones are clones of Boba Fett. Like they're all the same person. They all look exactly the same. That's the whole point, right? Because that's why they made the clone troopers.
Right.
Most of the clone troopers are now too old and they're dying out. And that's why you have like the super goofy goober stormtroopers that we're used to seeing now. Just that they got no aim, they're trash, all that. Like all the stormtroopers now are just people getting, it's like getting drafted almost, into the Imperial Order. So that's kind of how that works. But yeah, all of the older troopers are all clones of Boba, or is it Jango actually?
Yeah, I can't remember. One of them.
the clones of him. So yeah, they all look the same, and that's why he has a beard. That's why he's older. And Tamora Morrison, the actor who plays the character Boba Fett and all that, the reason why he even has a speaking role is because it's Tamora Morrison, and we just saw him in the Book of Boba Fett. So that's why his character even speaks instead of just holding his helmet out asking for money. But yes, you are correct. That is absolutely him. That was meant to be there for everybody to see in the glory and be like, "Oh my God, it's Tamora Morrison."
It's a cool
So, yeah,
Easter egg thing. I loved it.
yeah, really awesome, dude. It's really, really cool. Sick. I really enjoyed seeing that.
Okay,
That was
I
nice.
had to
I like
get that out of the way because I know what's coming, and I know you're about to go down the rabbit hole hard with Vader. So I had to get that before I forgot it. So proceed, sir.
No problem, man. So I gotta make this kind of short, but Vader's badass. Seeing him get his armor on was badass. Seeing him talk and it be the actual motherfucking voice of James Earl Jones.
That's fantastic.
Gave me goosebumps, dude. I had goosebumps watching that shit.
I heard it and I was like,
my
oh,
God,
yes. Yes.
so good. I was so happy. I immediately was taken all the way back to the older Star Wars trilogies. And because James Earl Jones has like such a distinct voice, I also wanted him to just turn around to somebody, like for an example, Third Sister, and say, "You deliberately disobeyed me." Like I just wanted him to say that from like a Lion King or whatever when he was Mufasa. But anyway.
Mufasa.
Dude, I absolutely loved how motherfucking gangster he was when he was walking down the street, just grabbing people with the force, just choking them out. He fucking killed a kid, bro. He didn't give a damn. And we already know that he kills kids because he killed all those younglings in episode 3 or whatever.
He's doing it to try to lure Obi Wan out, is he not? By like purposely attacking innocent people.
Yeah, he's trying to get Obi-Wan emotional so he can sense where he is. That's why he kept kind of finding Obi-Wan at first, but not exactly finding him. He kept like looking around and shit. He was trying to get Obi-Wan mad so that he could sense him in the Force. And I really like that. And Obi-Wan hasn't used the Force in so long. He's super fucking rusty and shit. So that's why it's been so hard for Vader to find him. And he purposely hasn't been using the Force. So that's why he's so rusty and his fighting style is so lame now, because you look at the fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan in episode 3 and you look at them fighting now, and then you look at them fighting in episode 6, A New Hope. Like them fighting in A New Hope, that the fighting style is really slow and calculated, and they're making that canon now. The reason why now is because they're older now. They're not as mobile now. Their fighting style has changed now. They're not as aggressive. They're more defensive, blah, blah, blah. Like we know that now to be the case. But honestly, it's just you had two guys. One guy was in a big ass suit, and the other guy was old as shit, man. They couldn't do all these fucking flips, and kung fu and all that stuff wasn't as cool back then. So they were just doing boring sword fighting. But now it's a little different. So when you get the prequel trilogy, they're doing all these flips and shit, and it looks all fantastical and blah blah blah. It's like really cool looking, and that's the shit that we're used to seeing. And then now you can see that the fighting style is a little bit more dulled down. So you can see how they get to A New Hope when they're fighting that way. But dude, him just grabbing people and breaking their fucking necks and shit and just trying to trigger an emotional response out of Obi-Wan so we can sense him was so fucking dope, dude. I was like, the season can end right here and I'm fine, because they're not gonna, like, I can't see them doing more. I hope they do, but then you get the rematch, right? So they're rematching and they're fighting, and Obi-Wan's trash. He's getting his fucking ass
Obi-Wan would
beat.
get his ass kicked if they fought legit right there. Like he has no chance with being rusty on the Force. That you cannot tell me he would beat Vader in that particular moment.
No, Vader's the fucking Terminator, bro.
Vader's used the Force probably every day, just about, or been practicing, while Obi-Wan's been hiding for 10 years. I think is what it says, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So he
has been Force every day, because every single day he's trying to figure out a way to kill the Emperor, right? So he's never gonna stop. Until he's fucking dead. Well, he stops when he fucking died, but
he doesn't stop. The whole point. Vader never stops
until he does.
No.
But that's how he brought balance to the Force. Like, technically, he did bring balance to the Force.
He is the chosen one.
He was like he essentially killed all the Jedi and there can only be two Sith at a time. That's the point, right? So it was him and the Emperor, and he knew that. So as long as he was alive, there was never going to be another Sith that could come through and do worse than the Emperor. So that's how he brought balance for that. And then for the Jedi side, he killed pretty much every Jedi. So there was never going to be another Jedi that was being trained at the time that was going to, come up and overthrow him. So when he gets surprised by like Luke and then even Leia now, it's different because now that's it, dude. That there's no more Sith. It's just him. So anyway, that's a whole nother Vader tangent that I could go down that I don't want to go down. But their fight was cool. Seeing Obi-Wan get his ass beat was a little less fun. But then you get the scene where Vader like spills all that liquid on purpose with the Force, and I was like, what's he doing here? And he just ignites it with his fucking lightsaber, dude, and throws fucking Obi-Wan in the fire to watch him burn like he burned on Mustafar, dude. I was like, oh shit, bro. I was so fucking excited, dude. I was like, how are they gonna make this make sense later on? So Obi-Wan gets, rescued essentially. And I love that Vader just watches him get rescued, and instead of getting upset or anything, he just walks the fuck away. I was like, that's so fucking gangster, dude. That's so fucking badass. He just walked away. God damn. If I saw Vader, bro, in his prime like that, I would shit on myself. That dude is a motherfucking beast.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And I just loved it so much. So I'm assuming they're going to put Obi-Wan in one of those tanks so that he can heal those burns. Because
it's cool they showed that in Boba Fett so you could kind of see it. Then they kind of like they bring it back in here to show how I'm assuming Vader does that probably every day to survive, right?
I mean, he got to be, dude, because he's fucked up.
Yeah, he got messed up bad. But that's cool if they've like brought that and you saw it again.
But yeah, man, I love it. It's fantastic.
Can we just clap for Disney for spending the money to get James Earl Jones to do the voice of Vader while he's in the suit, and then Hayden Christensen to do flashbacks and I guess also be Vader like burned and stuff like that? Can we just get a little for spending the damn money and bringing both Anakin and Vader? Like, yes, thank you.
Fantastic, dude. Like that. Those are things that don't seem like a lot to a person who's a casual fan, but if you're a fan,
that's
that
badass.
Shit means
just
it means everything to us, and it's I love that.
Also, I want to say thank you for bringing back Jimmy Smits. Also, I personally think that's cool that they used him again because he was in he's in the prequel, the whatever. He's the senator in the earlier episodes. With Anakin in them, like the ones where they're there.
That's true, man. The first thing I remember seeing him in, I think, was those earlier episodes, and then I saw him in Dexter. He was in like what, season 2 or 3?
3.
Okay, yeah. Yep. So I remember seeing him in that. So that was cool. That was a cool little callback. I did enjoy that. But yeah, man. Like with all that said, just these first 3 episodes, seeing the characters and where they are, even though Leia talks like a 30-year-old woman is weird, but she's still there. The third sister, I actually really like the third sister. I don't care what anybody's saying online. Like, I think she's fucking dope. She's super overzealous and shit, but like obviously there's turmoil within the ranks of the Inquisitors. So I don't give a shit about that. I like her character. I want to see where she goes. I want to see her. She just kidnapped Leia because Leia's super smart and she's like a 30-year-old, but she can't tell that this person dressed in all black with a fucking spinny lightsaber, you can't tell that this bitch is evil all of a sudden, but you can read people's thoughts when they're lying to you because you're force sensitive. Whatever. All that to say, dude, even if I didn't care for episode 1 and I thought episode 2 was pretty good and I really enjoyed the ending, episode 3 was Disney showing you like, hey, we still got it when it comes to old Star Wars. We got you. Don't worry. Don't worry. We got.
Were you ever worried that this wasn't the Mandalorian guy doing it? I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. The guy that did.
Absolutely.
What's his damn name?
You're asking me right now, putting me on the spot, and I can't think of it, but I know who you're talking about.
He did Mandalorian, Boba Fett, all them, which are fantastic, but I think it's Deborah Chow, I think is who's doing this one. I could be really wrong. But it's not him. But were you concerned at all going into this that he wasn't doing these and it was someone else?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think
I
it's
thought to
pretty
myself,
similar to them, though. I feel like it's kind of a similar style. I think she's probably definitely seen what works and what's working and is kind of keeping that.
I mean, yeah, I think so. For me, so them not having the older guy that was doing all the other stuff like Mandalorian and all that, like it's not just that person's not doing it. It's that I like Star Wars so much, and Obi Wan is a fan favorite character that doing anything like this is always scary because
True.
what if they fuck it up? That's always the question. Like, what
True.
if they don't do it right? What if they fuck it up? What if they change stuff? And we haven't seen the entirety of the series, so there's still time for them to fuck up. Let's just hope that they
I don't
don't,
think they
right?
are.
But
I don't think they
I mean,
are. I think they've got
I'm gonna
something.
I'm gonna be realistically optimistic with this one. I don't want to. I'm not gonna assume that they're not gonna fuck it up. This could just be a really good episode, and then we get a Moon Knight situation where the last episode has some cool parts, but they kind of drop the ball. So I don't know. But with that said, dude, the first three episodes definitely worth it. I understand why this is the most watched thing or premiere on Disney Plus. I understand why people are enjoying the show. I don't understand why people are hating Moses, the actor that plays Third Sister. I'll never understand that shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
But with that said, I really, really, really like where we are right now. It's just cool, man. So um, I hope that it continues like this. I hope that it continues like this. I hope we get more information. I hope they don't change too much of the established canon. And I want to see more Obi-Wan. I want to see more Vader. I will say I didn't expect them to fight this early on because I
Yeah.
thought they were only going to do one fight with Obi-Wan and Vader because they promised us they were going to do that, a rematch of sorts. So I'm wondering, like, is this actually going to be the only time they fight, and then
No.
Obi-Wan's going to like start using the Force again to fight somebody else? Like, because I don't want them to do too much with Obi-Wan and Vader because then it kind of diminishes what you had in Episode 6. You know, when Obi-Wan and eventually succumbs and is defeated by Vader. But anyway, with that said, man, I really enjoy where we are now. I hope they don't ruin it. I'm really excited to see what they do next, and I can't wait to get there.
I think I really well. I don't think I really like how they're doing Vader. I like that we're not getting a lot of Vader because when you get Vader, it's just like you're like, oh shit, here we go. It's always like really intense moments, and you get hyped up. At least I do. So I love how they're doing that. And they're not just continuously giving us Vader. Like when they bring him out, it's excitement time. Like I really like that. There is something that I have read that I wanted to see what you thought about. You may have seen it yourself, but it's a fan theory that they have going on right now. Have you seen any fan theories about the third sister by chance?
I haven't. I have been purposely not looking at any of that. So what does it say?
Okay, well this obviously like it's fan theory and it's just going off of the first three episodes, but the third sister, they're saying that she is one of the younglings in the opening scene of the Jedi Temple where they're getting attacked, Order 66, all that. They said it makes
Yeah,
they said
that's
that
pretty
she
obvious.
is the first one that you see and the only one to really receive a close up. And Obi-Wan himself says that many Inquisitors were once Jedi. So maybe that could be the turmoil stuff. Like if she was a Jedi, she got attacked, she swapped sides, all that stuff, But it's a theory that she is one of those younglings in the opening scene, which would make a lot of sense. Honestly, I didn't think about it at the time. It does make sense, but at the time I was just like, they're showing Order 66 because that's like a huge part in Star Wars canon and a pretty crazy part, in fact. So, and it shows why he's in hiding as well.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought that was like common knowledge. It's very, very clear that she was one of the younglings. It's very clear that she was force sensitive before she became the third sister. So, like, yeah, I knew all of that going in. I don't even think that's a theory. I think that's just kind of
That's what it says. It says it's
very
a theory in there, like what I
obvious.
was reading. So that's crazy. But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want really pay
I mean,
attention that closely on that one.
Yeah, to me that's like super obvious. So I mean, if that's where the rumor mill is, I think I'm pretty good
So Christian has called
yeah,
me
man,
dumb, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't call you dumb. I'm just saying like
So
but I'm into Star Wars more than you, so maybe that's why I thought that was just kind of par for the course.
it makes sense though. Like reading that and thinking about it, it does make a lot of sense. Like I honestly just thought we did because they did like the whole prequel recap, and then they showed Order 66 to start, and I was like, okay, they're just showing why he's in hiding because that was like a big deal, for Jedi's just getting slaughtered and all that stuff. So I didn't really think too much about it, but then it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
It also makes sense why she's not as ruthless. Like, what is it, the fifth brother? He's more. You don't really see him stray. Like he's pretty devious and like to the point. Like, there's no conflict, I feel like, in him. Where with her, like I said, there's moments you can see where it's almost like a battle. Like she wants to really go evil, but then she's kind of questioning herself. And so, yeah.
Yeah, man, I get it. Like I said, I thought that was pretty common knowledge there. Why else would they show a youngling of color right there and give her a close up and show that she was afraid and all that? It just makes sense. So, yeah, man. But I mean, those are my general thoughts on the Obi-Wan episodes. I think that it's so far it's a fantastic show. Episode 1, like I said, was for the most part unnecessary because it was so slow. But other than that, man, I really enjoyed it. I want to see where they're going to go next. I can't wait for next week's episode.
Yep. Halfway through. And yeah, so that's going to pretty much wrap up what we have on Obi-Wan. But we'll definitely be talking about it. A new episode will come out this coming Wednesday. We'll be talking about episode 4 when it comes out, as well as hopefully Christian will be a little farther in Stranger Things, so we can talk about that, as well as State of Play. We got a lot of stuff coming up that we can discuss.
Absolutely.
What is that?
I said absolutely.
But we got a lot of fun topics coming up. But thank you for listening. And yeah, it's that time of the show where we
pass the whiskey
and do last call. And this week, I'm audible and I have a last call question for Christian. So we're just gonna put him on the spot right here, right now. And I'm gonna say, Christian, you can pick one movie. One. And that is your favorite Star Wars movie. What is it?
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, fair enough. I think that would be good. I bet if you polled people, that would be probably a majority of people would pick Empire Strikes Back. I bet that is overall the favorite if you list them all.
I mean, Empire's just well done. That's where you get the
Not gonna say it's my favorite, but it's in my top. It would be my number 2.
I mean, if it in my brain, if it can't be anything other than either Empire or Return of the Jedi. But I like Empire just because of what happens in Empire. And then the Return of the Jedi, you just get Luke showing up in his all black costume as a Force gangster, but we didn't really see him like learning how to do any of that stuff. And that's what I actually care to see. So that's why. But yeah, that's my favorite.
Episode 3 is my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of the lightsaber duel at the end?
It's literally because of I love Anakin. I love seeing Anakin turn evil. Like that is my favorite. Like I like seeing him, just the evil growing in him, the hatred, and of course the awesome fight scene between them at the end.
Yeah, I mean he's just really so scared that fear turns into hate, which we already know from the famous words of Yoda, so I totally get it.
I like that one. But then Empire would probably be 2 for me. I would say my least favorite. Ooh, I want to say episode 1. I don't know. I never got into episode 1. I watched in theaters and that was, I don't know, maybe not. Honestly, if it's not episode 1, it's probably, hold on, I'm about to screw these up. It's the new trilogy, the second one. That would have been,
yeah.
What is that? Rise of the Jedi or something?
Honestly, I'm so far removed from those now, I can't remember.
It's Force
but
Awakens.
That one is
last whatever. It's the second one, so whatever that is. That one, I had such high expectations for it, and they just pooped all over my chest, and I was like, wow, I wasn't happy.
Feel that.
All right, but yeah, so there we go. We audible with a nice. Since we were on the Star Wars theme, we figured we'd keep it there and ask that question. And maybe one day we'll go through and we'll rate them. That would be actually fun if we went through and rated our Star Wars. But that's going to do it for this episode. We're going to shut it down here. And like I said, we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about in future episodes. So make sure you go, subscribe, rate, 5 stars, follow, do all that good stuff and things. New episodes every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central Time. That's right, 8 a.m. Central Time. On Apple, Spotify, Google, Overcast, Anchor, and more. Go check it out. Go show love. The video versions come out on YouTube. Go over to my YouTube, youtube.com. IamSinister, and you will see it. Drops at 8 a.m. on Wednesdays as well. And you can find me on social media. IamSinister TV, pretty much everywhere. I live stream on Facebook, fb.gg/IamSinisterTV. I live stream on TikTok at IamSinisterTV. And we live stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/IamSinisterTV. But yeah, find me. Come hang out. Come say hello. And if you'd like to get your question in the last call, or you would like to submit a Sinister tale, or you'd like to just talk about the episode, or even bug Christian in Christian's Corner, come to the Gilded. Check it out, gilded.gg/Sinister pack. In the application, just put from the podcast. Come hang out. We have a whole section dedicated to it, as well as a lot of stuff for you to hang out, talk games, different topics, comics, movies. There's all kinds of stuff. Come hang out with us, nerd out, and talk, or show us what you're drinking, because, we like to have beverages around here. But Christian, where can the lovely folks find you?
You guys can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Ven and Ink. That is VEN and Ink, all one word, Ven and Ink. Those are only 2 places you can find me right now because I don't like social media as much as people think I do.
He's a liar. He's on social media all the time. Don't let him lie to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode. We appreciate you all listening. Again, each and every week, thank you. Continue to spread the word of this podcast. Share it with your friends. Let them check it out. We love to hear feedback, and we love that you take the time out of your busy days to listen to us. So thank you so much. But that's it. So we're going to let Christian shut this damn thing down and get ready for next week. Christian.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Sipping With Sin. Be sure to leave a 5-star review, smash that like button, and leave your comments and the recommendations below. But most importantly, guys, remember, don't get gutted.
That's right. See you guys next time.